On the morning of January 8th, 2020, Jeremy and Audrey Roloff welcomed their second child into the world, a baby boy, 9 pounds and 2 ounces, big, healthy, and by all reports, easy from the moment he arrived. They named him Bode James Roloff. Botti. It was a name that many people had never heard before. It was a name that Jeremy and Audrey had considered, but not committed to for most of the pregnancy. It was a name that, during the third trimester, they were still debating whether to use. And then, in one of those small moments of family connection that shapes lives in ways no one can predict, Jeremy's grandmother called him. She had a name suggestion. She thought Botti would be beautiful. Audrey has shared that the phone call felt like a confirming affirmation. The universe, or in this family's language, God, was telling them that Botti was the right name. And so, Bode James Roloff came into the world. He was the fourth grandchild of Matt and Amy Roloff. He was the second child of Jeremy and Audrey, joining his older sister Ember. He was another average-height baby in a family that had already produced multiple children with achondroplasia. And he was, from his very first moment, held tightly to a name that carried more meaning than most people would ever guess. Tonight on LPBW Update, we are walking through the full story of Bode James Roloff, the layered meaning behind his beautiful name, the healthy 9-pound arrival that fans celebrated on Instagram, the first 6 years of his life, his love of tractors and trains, his preschool graduation, his personality as it has developed from infant to toddler to school-age boy, and, importantly, the 2026 barn birthday that may have set in motion the biggest Roloff family real estate decision of the decade. Because Bode James Roloff is not just a Roloff grandchild. He is, in some ways, the reason that Jeremy and Audrey are seriously considering buying Roloff Farms. And that makes his story more important, in the current family narrative, than anyone might have expected 6 years ago. Let us start with the name, because Bode James is one of the most meaningful, multi-layered names in the entire Roloff family. Audrey has explained on Instagram and in interviews the various layers of significance behind their choice. First, the name Botti means messenger. In some cultural traditions, particularly Germanic and Scandinavian traditions, Botti is a word or name meaning messenger, herald, or bearer of news. Audrey and Jeremy chose the name because they wanted their son to be a messenger of the gospel. They wanted his life to be a message of hope, truth, and love to many. That was the specific religious framing they gave to the meaning of his first name. Second, the name Botti is a nod to Audrey's maiden name, Botti, which is pronounced Botti. By choosing Botti, Audrey was carrying her family of origin forward into the next generation. The Botti heritage lived on in her son's name. That kind of matrilineal naming, where a mother's maiden name is honored in her children's names, is a way of preserving family identity that has centuries of history in many cultures. Audrey was participating in that tradition. Third, the middle name James is a strong Roloff family tradition. Jeremy has the middle name James. His father, Matt, has the middle name James. Matt's father, Jeremy's grandfather, also has the middle name James. By giving Bode the middle name James, Audrey and Jeremy were making him part of a 4-generation Roloff naming tradition. 4 generations of Roloff men, all sharing the middle name James, linked by the choice of that single word passed down through the family. That is the kind of naming choice that only families with a strong sense of tradition make. And the Roloffs, whatever their conflicts and complications over the years, have always had a strong sense of tradition. The story of how Botti almost was not Botti is also part of the family lore. Audrey has shared that during the third trimester of her pregnancy, she and Jeremy were still not fully committed to the name. They had considered it, they had thought about it, but something was holding them back. Jeremy's grandmother, who lives in Oregon and is a beloved family figure, called Jeremy one day and told him she had a really good name suggestion. Jeremy asked what she had in mind. She said, "What about Botti?" Audrey has written on Instagram that the moment was a confirming affirmation. It felt like Jeremy's grandmother had spoken exactly the name they had been considering, at exactly the moment they needed the confirmation. From that moment forward, Botti was the name. There was no more debate. The name had been spoken by an elder in the family in a way that felt divinely guided to both of them. That kind of family transmission of names is meaningful. Bode's very existence, as Bode rather than as some other name, is a small monument to Jeremy's grandmother and to the way family wisdom can shape decisions that seem entirely private. The birth itself, on January 8, 2020, was well documented on Jeremy and Audrey's social media. Jeremy posted a photo with the caption, "Wow, little Bode James here. Welcome to the world, son." He said it was an incredible journey giving birth is. Audrey was incredible. It was, he said, just a serious miracle. He said he was pretty stoked. They were home. They were happy. He thanked everyone for their support. The photo showed a proud father holding a newborn baby who was, by weight, one of the largest Roloff grandchildren yet born. 9 pounds and 2 ounces is a substantial birth weight, particularly for a baby of average height. Bode came into the world big and healthy, and his parents were thrilled. The first years of Bode's life were, by all accounts, uneventful in the best sense. He was a healthy baby. He hit his developmental milestones on schedule. He grew from infant to toddler to little boy without any of the medical complications that had shaped some of his cousin's early years. He was, essentially, an easy baby who became an easy toddler. Audrey and Jeremy shared occasional updates about him. Photos of him with his big sister Ember, photos of him sleeping, photos of him experiencing the various firsts of babyhood. Bode was clearly loved. He was clearly welcomed into the family, and he was, importantly, allowed to have a relatively private childhood by influencer family standards. Jeremy and Audrey have been more protective of their children's online presence than many similar influencer families, keeping the specific details of their children's daily lives more restrained than the constant content that some influencer parents share. By the time Bode was 3 years old, in the spring of 2023, he was ready for preschool. Audrey posted a photo of him beside a chalkboard listing his interests. He loved tractors. He loved trains. He enjoyed playing and singing with his sister Ember. He was starting on the same educational path his sister had walked before him. The photo captured a specific moment in the life of a 3-year-old boy about to take his first steps into a slightly larger world. Preschool, for a child that age, is the first significant separation from the parents. It is the first structured educational experience. It is the first time in a classroom with other children who are not siblings or cousins. Bode was ready. He was old enough. He was excited. And his parents documented the moment with the same intentional storytelling they have always applied to their children's milestones. The specific personality of Bode, as it has emerged over his first 6 years, is worth highlighting. He is, by his parents' descriptions, adventurous, energetic, and outdoorsy. He is the family's outdoors kid, always ready for a hike, a farm activity, or a bike ride. He is athletic. He is enthusiastic. He is, in some ways, a classic active boy who thrives when he is outside and running around. That personality has been a good fit for his family's lifestyle. Jeremy and Audrey love the outdoors. They have taken their children camping. They have taken them on RV trips. They have raised them with an appreciation for nature and physical activity. Bode has soaked up all of that. He is at home in the woods. He is at home on farms. He is at home in the specific rural Oregon landscape where his family has built their life. And that brings us to the most important recent chapter in Bode's story, his 6th birthday. In January of 2026, Jeremy and Audrey Roloff celebrated Bode's 6th birthday at Roloff Farms. The birthday party was held in the barn at the farm. It was a fitting location. Bode loves farm activities. He loves being outdoors. He loves the kinds of rural experiences that Roloff Farms offers. The whole family gathered for the celebration. Matt Roloff was there. Amy and Chris Merrick were there. Zach and Tori's kids were there. All 8 Roloff grandchildren were present or represented. It was a joyful family event. But it was also, in a way none of the guests may have fully understood at the time, a pivotal moment for the future of the entire farm. Because Audrey Roloff, watching her son enjoy his 6th birthday in the barn on the property Jeremy had grown up on, had a moment. She has described it publicly in her February 2026 recap. She said that after celebrating Bode's birthday in the barn at Roloff Farms, she and Jeremy had a what-if moment. What if they bought the farm? What if they could give their 4 children the kind of Roloff Farms childhood that Jeremy himself had experienced? What if they could keep the family legacy in the family, in this specific way, through this specific transaction? The significance of the farm, what it represented, what it could mean for their children, all of it came rushing back. She wrote that she and Jeremy began to see the farm with new eyes in a completely different season of life. She said that if they wanted to sell their house and buy the farm now, they could. It felt, she wrote, like God was giving them the opportunity to choose it again if they wanted. In other words, Bode's 6th birthday party was the catalyst. His enjoyment of the barn, his love of the farm environment, his connection to the property that his grandfather had built, all of it planted a seed in his parents' minds that may, if fully realized, result in Jeremy and Audrey purchasing Roloff Farms. If they do buy the farm, if the sale eventually happens, Bode will grow up on Roloff Farms in a way that would not have been possible if his 6th birthday party had been held anywhere else. His childhood connection to the property, at the specific age when childhood memories become permanent, will have shaped the next chapter of Roloff Farms' history. That is a heavy weight for a 6-year-old to carry. But he does not have to carry it. He just gets to be Bode, to love tractors, to love trains, to play with his siblings, to celebrate his birthday in the barn, to be a little boy having a wonderful childhood. Whatever happens with the farm sale is up to the adults. Bode just has to keep being Bode. For fans of the Roloff family who have watched Bode grow up over the past 6 years, he has become one of the most recognizable and beloved of the 8 Roloff grandchildren. He is the middle child of Jeremy and Audrey's 4 kids. He is the older brother of Radley and Mirabella. He is the younger brother of Ember. He is the tractor-loving, outdoor adventuring boy whose name means messenger. And he is, in his own small way, one of the potential future stewards of Roloff Farms if the property does indeed pass to his parents. That role, if it comes to be, will be one of the most meaningful legacies that any Roloff grandchild carries. Bode may grow up as one of the boys who worked the pumpkin patches, ran through the western town, climbed on the castle, and fished in the pirate ship lake his grandfather built. He may become, in a sense, a bridge generation between the show and whatever comes next in Roloff family history. What is Bode's future going to look like? Nobody knows. He will grow up in Oregon, on whatever property his family ends up living on. He will continue to be educated in whatever way his parents choose, whether through homeschooling, private school, or public school. He will continue to develop his personality, his interests, and his passions. His love of tractors may develop into a love of engineering or agriculture. His love of trains may develop into a love of history or travel. His outdoor nature may lead him into environmental careers or into any number of hands-on professions, or he may take a completely different direction. Whatever he does, he has the foundation of a stable family, loving parents, strong values, and financial resources that give him options. His parents are giving him a strong start. What he builds on that start is up to him. For now, at 6 years old, Bode is doing what 6-year-olds do, going to school, playing with his siblings, riding tractors, loving trains, celebrating his birthday, being loved, and, unbeknownst to him, potentially setting in motion the transaction that will shape his family's legacy for decades to come. That is a lot for a little boy to be doing without even knowing he is doing it. But that is the beauty of childhood. The impact of a child's presence in a family is often more profound than anyone realizes at the time. Bode is having that kind of impact right now, in his small, quiet way, without ever needing to be conscious of it. He is just living, and in his living, he is helping to shape the future of his family. So I want to know what you think. Would you want to see Jeremy and Audrey buy Roloff Farms so that Bode and his siblings can grow up on the property Jeremy grew up on? Do you love the name Bode as much as I do? Or do you find it too unusual for your taste? And what do you think of the significance of Jeremy's grandmother suggesting the name at just the right moment during Audrey's pregnancy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and I love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to LPBW Update, and ring the bell so you do not miss our weekly Roloff family stories. We are committed to bringing you the truth, the timeline, and the heart of every member of this remarkable family. I will see you on the next one.